It was a wonderful sunny day, filled with joy and happiness. The birds were chirping and the people of the world were prospering. On this special day, I met a young lady. Her name was Alice. She was a very kind and beautiful dear girl, who made everyone in Wonderland feel happier than ever before. She made me happy by joining me for tea every day. It was always so magical. I could never have dreamed of any other day that I would want to last forever. My heart felt no sorrow, but joy for having Alice in Wonderland. She made both myself and others in this wondrous land feel as though we would always stand by her side. As days progressed, Alice needed to leave Wonderland, which caused everyone to feel intense sorrow, and most especially me. I cried, but Alice asked me to promise to stay strong and to take care of everyone in Wonderland. Surprisingly, my promise was fulfilled, ensuring that everyone was happy until the day Alice safely returned to Wonderland. I felt much joy upon Alice's return, but for some reason something did not seem right. Alice was not the same person I first met on that wonderful sunny day weeks prior. We could not understand the changes seen in Alice, displaying signs of evilness. She no longer brought joy to Wonderland, but brought pure darkness to all those surrounding her. The day we noticed Alice was not the same was when she first began to display signs of lack of interest and compassion for the people of Wonderland. She ignored us, gave us nothing, and blamed us for the reason why she lost her mind and felt so much rejection in her life. While she was describing her feelings and thoughts toward us, I responded by letting her know that she could always count on us. Unfortunately, she did not accept our offering hand and refused to acknowledge our existence. Alice stared at us with an evil glare and promised that she would end this world and see it burn. Everyone was astonished by Alice's words and reaction, displaying emotions of fear and disappointment. How did I react? I tried not to display my emotions by continuing on with my tea parties. Soon after, Alice departed Wonderland. Several months later, I became curious as to how Alice was doing, so I made a pact that I would do everything to look for her. After days of searching, I found her in the Red Queen's castle. She appeared to be enjoying herself with one of the fiendish women within the land. I learned that Alice and the Red Queen agreed that together they would take over Wonderland. However, that alliance was short-lived, after Alice stabbed the Red Queen in her heart and beheaded her, throwing her off the throne and labeling Alice as the new evil in Wonderland. After seeing this with my own two eyes, I ran back to Wonderland to warn the people, but I was too late. Alice, with a darkened heart, had already imprisoned many of the people in empty, soulless cells. Those who wished to oppose her power were executed. I watched in horror, wondering why Alice has become this symbol of evilness. She is no longer the one I adored, but now a devil within our world we now suffer, bowing to her feet. Wonderland was once a magical place, and now I hide in shame and fear, getting closer and closer to losing my sanity, for if I should be found, my life would be taken. Alice continued to look for me, but I kept running away, searching for safe places to hide. Although I kept running, I could hear Alice's screams and observe the blood being shed. I cried uncontrollably as Alice tortured many of the people I knew. Listening to the loud and continuous screaming, I asked myself, why can't this stop? Please stop the madness. I hear a voice amongst the darkened void. Do you wish to make a deal, Mad Hatter? I looked into the direction of this voice, stared with fear in my eyes. I saw death itself as I began to beg for my life to be spared. But the voice told me it was not here for me. Not yet, anyways. He then asked again, do you wish to make a deal, Mad Hatter? I ceased my meaningless tears and nodded yes. He gave a sinister grin and said, if you make this deal, your soul will be mine and will be punished for eternity. I replied. As long as I bring back the peace, nothing else matters. The man began to laugh and replied, Then the deal is struck. He extended his hand into my body, took my living soul, and then disappeared. I looked at myself with smiles of a maddening grin as I searched for the nearest tool of death. I could only find a scythe, so I sharpened it enough to where it would be able to cut down anything with one swing. Now I was well prepared to take down the devil of Wonderland. I walked through the land observing the houses engulfed in burning flames and people watching as their homes were slowly disintegrating to the ground. My mission was to relieve their pain and suffering. I felt emotions that were so right, reaping, taking the souls of the wicked with one single cut and beheading them. I said to myself, what a lovely day, I must say. I then continued on walking until I made to the Red Queen's castle. As I approached the entrance into the castle, I smiled a sinister grin and said to myself, Time to play, Alice. I then proceeded charging to the castle, killing everyone who wished to harm me. I slashed and eliminated all the evil people within the castle, the ones who served as a threat to both myself and the people of Wonderland. They were now in a better place. I was now able to reach the destination, the Queen's throne. When the door opened, I charged in, killing the guards and the Queen. As Alice stood in shock, I grabbed her, laid her on the ground, and raised my scythe, laughed and said, You will be removed from this world, Alice. Alice, with a terrified look and tears running down her face, exclaimed, Please stop this madness, Jack. I looked at her with confusion, still with the scythe raised, and replied, Who is Jack? I then began to realize that I was in an amusement park. After observing everything that was around me, I dropped the scythe and fell to my knees, grasping my blood-stained hands onto my head, crying and listening to the screams. Please stop. No more. Why is this happening to me? Alice then tries to slowly escape, but she is unsuccessful. With my sinister grin, I told Alice that this is my world, and that everything is mine to control. I held the death scythe and raised it to Alice and said, No more of your tyranny, Red Queen Alice. Shortly after, the deed was done. I held her head up high and walked out to have the soldiers prepare to fire their arrows. Surprisingly, they began to fire their arrows towards me. Instead, I tried running to a safe destination, but was shot endlessly, falling to the ground. No sound could be heard. No person could be seen. Everything was now black.